to get stuff from.
Thank you guys so much for joining us. We are here in the Hoka Lounge, the heart of Javelina, the McDowell Mountain Preserve, sitting just outside of Phoenix, Arizona, in a cool, breezy morning here in Phoenix for Phoenix.
That's not bad.
Getting ready to preview the Javelina 100. Thank you guys so much for joining us back here.
Woo.
All of you guys at home. And I have an amazing panel with me today. Let's start on my far right over here. If you haven't seen his face, you've definitely heard his voice. The voice of Mountain Outpost, Mr. Chris Warden. How are you doing, Chris?
I am so excited. I've been coming to this race for so long, but it never gets old. Every October, this is something I look forward to, and it's just great to be back.
We're excited to have you. And new guest, Katie Asmuth. How are we doing? If you haven't seen her vibrant smile, if you've made it to June Mountain Aid Station at Mammoth 200, or if you've raced with her, you've picked up a little bit of her energy here on the course. And today here on the show, Katie Asmuth, how are you?
I'm awesome. This is my second time here at Javelina. I was here doing Jackass field commentary last year and then popped into the 31K last minute, and it was super fun. So now I'm racing the 100K tomorrow, and I'm super pumped to be here.
I love the outfit. Very indicative of Javelina. Absolutely fantastic. And I'm also joined by the queen herself to my immediate right here, Rachel Intrican. Rachel, welcome.
Thanks. Yeah, this is my first time here, and it's pretty wild. So, yeah, it's definitely living up to the hype and expectations.
Yeah, well, it hasn't gotten wild yet. So
Well, then that's fascinating.
It's going to get so much more wild. That is what Javelina is all about.
Yeah, I'm excited to see all the butts. So I hear that there's butts.
There's your quote.
Just jumping right into it, huh, Rachel?
There are
Yes.
there are a handful of butts. It's a great time. It's a great time. But before we get talking about the runners and the events of the weekend, let's talk about the course, because that's what we're here for. Is this course? Like, honestly, my opinion of this course is it's like that toxic ex that we all have, where on paper it sounded great. It sounds like you're going to have a fun time, but then you're halfway through, you're kind of caught talking to yourself like, wow, like, did I make a mistake here? This is a little hot. I'm feeling a little burned. Why is this course so hard, Chris?
It's hard because everybody thinks it's so approachable. There's nothing about the course, if you look at the course profile, if you look at the terrain, there's nothing about it specifically that you say, oh, wow, that's hard. It's just the accumulation of things, along with the fact that you're running this race. And even though we're talking about it being breezy this morning, it's still 80 degrees out there now. It's going to get up into the mid 80s in the shade, but there is no shade. And I think that it just kind of sneaks up on you. When you head out from Javelina headquarters, the first half of the course is kind of a gentle uphill until right before you get to Jackass Junction. Then it's a little bit rougher. And then coming back down, you have that smooth, steady downhill. And people, I think, get lulled into a false sense of security. I think that people, because it's approachable, one of the things I've talked about with runners who are, maybe just below that elite level is that they have a hard time with this course because they don't know where they're supposed to stop and hike. They don't know where they're supposed to take their breaks, because all of it is runnable if you're talented enough, but most people can't do 100 miles without taking a walk break or taking a hike break. And that's the hardest part, I think, of this course.
Absolutely. Now, Rachel, you were out on the course this morning. What was your impressions of the course?
I mean, I definitely agree with that assessment. There's not a lot of reason to stop running. And I think, too,
the course will give you plenty of reasons. Come lap 2 and 3.
Eventually. And yeah, I think, I thought the temperature this morning, we started at about just before 7, and I thought the entire time we were running, it was perfect. But as soon as we stopped running, it was like, whoa, it is actually very hot. And it's really exposed. And I know that exposure can make it feel a lot hotter than it actually is. So yeah, I don't know. I mean, I think it's pretty much what he was saying. It's one of those courses where on paper it looks like it should be a breeze, but it's a little trickier in person. So
just don't stop, and then it's not as
fine.
Hot.
Yeah, if you
Because
keep
you get
running
the breeze
exactly.
while you're running, so it makes sense.
Yeah, but I've heard a lot about the cooling strategies being vitally important, and I think even maybe for front of the pack people at the end of their first lap, if they're doing it in 2.5 hours, you might need to start considering doing it really early to mitigate.
Yeah, last year I ran the course on, of course, I chose the hottest year on record. It was fantastic, 103 degrees out on the course. So I'm a little jealous of everybody getting the great temperatures this year. But yeah, that first lap, you are absolutely dousing. Now, Katie, you ran Jackass last year. You had some fun. You're running the 100K tomorrow. What did you learn from that Jackass race last year that you're taking into the 100K this year?
Well, I definitely just jumped into the 31K. I wasn't like racing the 31K. I ended up just running with Helmino Faulkner, and we just chatted the whole time, and we were all dressed up, and it was a really good time. So this will be a little bit different in the sense that I'm planning to race, and it will be during the day, so very different. I think I got to see the whole course, though, and that was a part of it. I knew I'd want to come back, and so it was fun to do one loop of it. I think it's really, I think the exposure is going to be the biggest thing. Like, there's nowhere to hide. There's not sections that you get shade. I think having some water and a handheld to douse yourself with ice water would be a really good clutch idea. And just generally having your ice bandanas. I think actually stopping. I think a lot of people maybe don't like, let's skip. It's only in 4 miles. I might as well skip it. I don't need ice then. No, you should take it, because then you have to wait 10 and a half miles to get to the next ice. So it's how you want to approach the day and the aid stations, I think, is what makes an executed perfectly day. Like, you need to execute it exactly the way, like, you have to have a magic day. You have to execute it perfectly is what I'm trying to say.
Absolutely.
Yeah, to that point, Katie, use the ice, leverage the ice. There's in excess of 20,000 pounds of ice out there. They're bringing ice in constantly throughout the weekend. They actually have like an ice truck delivering to a couple of the aid stations. Like, it's going to be in perpetuity. So use as much ice as you think you need, and then throw some more ice in. Like, I remember David Roche last year running with an ice buff that was basically as big as his head, like on his back last year. And that's what the strategy is basically keep cooling, and stay ahead of the weather.
You just reminded me. I remember Lauren Puretz, who will be racing for Golden Ticket.
I just met her.
She's awesome,
Yeah,
right?
she's really cool.
I remember her last year at Jackass. She was like over any ice cubes. She's like, I don't want the ice cubes. I want the ice chunk, and was very, very forceful about this language. Like, give me the chunk of ice. And she would get this massive chunk, and she's like, that's what holds, that the ice cubes aren't holding as much, that they melt so much quicker. So it's really those strategies that make or break your performance.
Absolutely, and to kind of continue the conversation on the course, so like for those who aren't familiar with the course at home, this is a looped course, so we've got a handful of loops out there. Your first loop is going to be longer than the rest of the course, so you do kind of get most of the early morning cool temperatures out of the way in that first loop, and then you start, you know, as I've heard it, holding hands with Hades out there as it starts to get a little toasty. But that lap 1 is going to be your longer loop. You get to enjoy a kind of really fun section. I remember running it last year. I actually enjoyed that first loop section quite a bit. It's a little hillier, a little more rolly, but then you can kind of hear the aid station for quite some time, the main aid station here at headquarters. Then you make your way out. There are 4 aid stations along this course each lap, so you do get plenty of opportunities to hit the aid station, which makes it easy to skip the ice, that one aid station where you're like, I'm still kind of good, or like, I'm moving fast enough, I'll be all right. But don't get lulled into that. We're definitely going to talk about some strategies here beyond that. But before we get going a little bit more, I know, Chris, nobody has spent more time talking about this course, being involved with this course, than I believe you have, outside of maybe Jamil and Jubilee. So you know a lot of the history of the course, and I'd love you to take us through kind of the history of Javelina 100.
Yeah, sure. So, of course, Javelina 100 was founded in 2003 by Jerry Kilgariff primarily. I know that there were a couple other people whose names are associated with the early Linda Van Tilborg, another one. But Jerry Kay, she and a couple other people were local runners here, part of that big scene back in the late 90s, early 2000s. And they thought it would be fun because back then, you know, you didn't have as many hundreds out there. Like, usually the big race for people here, if they weren't going to Western States, was Angeles Crest. Like, the runners would head over to California, and they're like, well, why don't we put a 100-miler here in the desert? Well, who would do that? Well, they found out. And they had, a few dozen starters in 2003. And they were actually at the old Pemberton Trailhead. Actually, it's not old. We just don't use it anymore because the race has gotten so big. But back then, it was actually a 10 lap out and back to where Jackass Junction was at the time. And a few years later, they actually incorporated the entirety of the Pemberton Trailhead, which is a 15-mile loop that starts from there. And that was 6 loops plus a 10-mile truncated loop with a different spur heading back to the finish. Then in 2016, we made the big move over here to the Four Peaks staging area and added an extra couple miles. Basically, you don't hit Pemberton Trailhead anymore. You basically go around it on both sides, heading out to Pemberton and then coming back in. And now you've got the standard form now where it's the first loop you head down Escondido and it's 23 miles. And then the subsequent loops are about 19 miles apiece. For a few years, one of the things that people loved about Javelina was the washing machine style format. But the problem is that when you have 1,000 runners going each direction, it gets chaotic. Not only for the aid stations trying to service runners coming in and out, but there were a couple of times where they had to chase somebody down heading out the wrong direction, whether they were disoriented or just simply not paying attention. They'd come in, you grab something to eat, grab something to drink, and head out. And then all of a sudden, they would kind of take a few steps and realize, wait a minute, this doesn't seem right. And then they would have to go the other direction. So they standardized it, I believe, in 2020 as I guess it was a byproduct of what happened that year with everything else, that rather than having people going back and forth, they have it one way standardized now, and that's the course. And actually, I think the way that they've got it set now is best for all runners, because now when you head out on Pemberton, you're actually going out on the more technical, rockier side heading uphill, and the downhill side is smooth and fast, and you can kind of just cruise in. And I think that's the course as it is now is as optimal as it's going to get for what you use out here at McDowell Mountain Regional Park.
Yeah, absolutely a fantastic course. I've put a few laps out there myself. Chris, you're going to enjoy a few laps this year?
I'm going to try and complete a few laps. I don't know how much I'll enjoy them.
You'll enjoy them.
I'll enjoy being done with them, that's for sure. Yeah. This is my first time taking a swing at this course since 2016. That year was the hottest year on record prior to last year. Unfortunately, that year I pulled the plug at mile 77. I was having just all sorts of problems. I probably could have finished, but that's one of my big regrets of my running life is, I pulled the plug rather than letting the clock decide. And so this year I've been told by those who knew I was running in no uncertain terms that there's no way I'm getting off this course.
Well, you are going to be blessed with some amazing weather out there. And we say amazing. It's still going to be 86 for the high, 60 for the low. Let's talk a little bit about kind of how the desert swings its temperature so aggressively and how that can affect the runners quite a bit, because we know the course is amazing. One of the best things about the course is you get to see everybody quite regularly out there. But one thing you can't escape is the heat. No matter what, you're running an the Arizona exposed sun, and it does leach a lot of energy out of you. Katie, you mentioned this a little bit. Your technique is going to be icing a lot. Even at 86 degrees, you think it's going to be pretty warm out there.
Oh, yes. I think that whether it's 98 degrees or 86 degrees, you have to be icing the whole day. And I think something that we forget, that you can't just ice yourself. You also have to consume water or you have to hydrate with electrolytes. And I think, you can douse yourself all day and forget to actually take in the hydration because you're doing such a great job of cooling. But make sure that you're actually drinking also. And you're going to be sweating a lot more than you maybe otherwise would have. And so you just got to make sure you're on top of your sodium and your hydration. I think that's critical.
Absolutely. I've heard Javelina is described as like the burning man for runners out here in the desert, but instead of ecstasy, we're serving up electrolytes. So make sure you're taking them nonstop. Party with those electrolytes.
Snorting electrolytes.
So yeah, we're definitely in for some cooler temperatures, but Rachel, I want to hear from you. Do you feel like that is going to make kind of a false sense of security for people out there?
So I do, sort of, mostly because it's cooler, but it still is hot. So
yeah, 86 is a cool year at Javelina is not a cold day on the course.
Exactly.
It's still a hot.
So exposed too.
So I think certainly, you could get you could get people who start out a bit, no pun intended, but like too hot. Because they think like, oh yeah, well it's a cooler year, so like let's go for it. So I mean, I certainly think that will happen to a couple folks.
Absolutely. What are some of your cooling techniques that you would be using out there? If you were out there tomorrow, what would you be doing to cool down?
Well, I definitely think clothing and pack is important. So like if you're like wearing light clothes or like a light pack, I know a lot of packs are black, so that could be a problem. And then if I were out there, I would be probably putting ice in my bladder if I had a pack on. Just because then it's like going to melt slowly and keep you cool often. I definitely agree. I think stopping constantly to get ice at like every aid station would be something that I would be doing. But yeah, I don't know. I'm not running it because it's hot. So, but ask me at Cocodona what I'll be doing.
This race has a habit of pulling in all the commentators and the live stream
I'm
crew.
sure.
For some reason, we all find ourselves out on the course. So who knows what 2025
Yeah.
or 2026 is going to bring.
Yeah, but I
It
mean,
is also on Halloween next year.
Yeah.
Little known fact: Javelina 100 will be on Halloween next year.
Dang.
Oh,
So I'm
that's
just
epic.
saying, it's going to be a good time.
But yeah, I heard
Registration January 1st. Just let you know.
But yeah, I heard a couple of people talking strategy with like, do you run faster in the cooler temperature? Like, do you run faster on the first loop and then try to like survive the other couple loops until it gets like cooler again? And I mean, that's an interesting. I don't know. I've not had to like race this race, so I guess I don't know what it's like. But I thought that was an interesting strategy that I'll be like looking out for tomorrow.
Yeah, I think there's always a handful of people who go out pretty hot in the first lap. And I do believe the idea is like, yeah, let's take advantage of the cool temperatures while we have them. It's, you're going out. It's the sun's not beating down on top of you yet. By the time the lap finishes, it's just kind of like breaking into the morning. You have beautiful sunrise out there. That can bite you.
Yeah.
Because once the heart rate gets so high and then you start getting that heart rate decoupling because of the heat, then it just kind of spirals out of control and it takes way too long to pull it all back together. And I think this is a great segue into strategy. Chris?
I was going to say, I can tell you because oftentimes I'm hanging out at Rattlesnake Ranch as the runners are coming for that first loop. And I've been going out there for years to the junction where they actually head off to Escondido. The number of times where I've seen people like try and hang with those lead runners who have no business trying to hang with those lead runners for that first lap is amazing. And it just, like, they end up cooking themselves. And maybe they still finish. Maybe they still have a decent day. But, like, when you see somebody who you find out later had a 26-hour, 25-hour finish, going out with that lead pack, you just know that fourth and fifth loop were probably some of the worst moments of their life.
Can confirm they get very, very difficult. Each lap gets considerably harder. For some reason, I think that the vert grows out there every year. I mean, there's only 7,900 feet of vert on the course. It's not that crazy, but
All of it's in the last lap.
I think it's pretty stacked in the last lap. That's where all the vert hangs. That's for absolutely sure. Key strategies to really a successful day out here at Javelina 100. Honestly, we've talked about cooling often, cooling early. It's the name of the game the entire day. Also the exposure. Sun sleeves, hats. What are your guys' strategies for that kind of exposure?
I'm a big sun shirt person. I don't really like hats very much, but if it has a hood, I'm game. So and you can also like douse your sleeves of your sun shirt. You can douse your entire sun shirt. You can shove ice in your sleeves and in your hood. I've done all of those things. So I'm a sun shirt person. But yeah, I agree. I think getting the sun off your skin is pretty big.
Fair.
I'm not. I used to do arm sleeves. For me, they just get hot once the ice melts. Then they're just like hot on me. And so for me, I'm more of a just douse constantly. Like I want to stay wet all day. Like I said, I really like the having a handheld that has ice water in it that you can just be dousing yourself as you go. And then the ice bandanas, the ice in your hat, ice in your sports bra, ice in your shorts,
Ice in your sports
everywhere.
bra. Ice in your sports bra.
Sorry,
I'm going to
guys.
start wearing one
should wear a
next
sports bra.
year just
Clearly,
for the ice.
Yeah.
I simply wear sun hoodies. Like I've been running out here in the desert for 15 years, and from I would say nearly the very beginning, I was already running in long sleeves. But then when you started to see more sun shirts popping up, that's when I started adopting those. And even just as a general rule, I wear them whether it's sunny or not out. But just the fact that it does get as hot as it does out here, the sun beats down, I feel like the coverage that they afford you is great. And my personal trick, I'm sure I'm not reinventing the wheel, but I always make sure that my hood is tucked inside, so that way I can pull it out and get a little bit of evaporative cooling over my head at that moment, and and kind of just wash, rinse, repeat on that. Because the thing is, not only is there no shade from trees or anything out here, because there's no trees on this course, there's really, like, any cloud that you see is kind of a gift from from beyond, because you just don't get that stuff out here. It's completely clear. So I would say that I, like, every time my hoodie starts to dry off a little bit, I just tuck it back in, and also keeping it underneath a an ice buff. Like, that's kind of what I use as a little bit of an added boost in terms of keeping my core temperature down.
Things I wish I would have done last year.
You got to keep it wet, though.
Yeah,
That's
absolutely.
critical.
What is that Pam Smith quote about Western states? It's like, keep me like lubed and wet or something. Does that like apply here?
That sounds like something she would say as the 2024 Best Ass winner, Pam Smith.
Yeah, I think we
pirate's
definitely
booty.
need some signs for that this year. I
keep
absolutely
me
love
lubed
it.
and wet.
And she'll be out here.
Yeah, no, I'm really excited.
Eventually.
Eventually she'll make it out here. I think some other strategies to consider, like obviously not going out too hot, saving something for that last lap, because that vert does really stack up. It's a lot more technical on the back end than people think. The footing is not super easy. It's challenging. I do remember last year going into Jackass, and kind of you hit those hills, those rolling hills that just kind of feel like they never end until you hit Jackass Junction, and then you roll home. And it gets a lot easier after that. But staying on top of all the electrolytes, all the nutrition, all the food, that's all pretty standard. The heat this year, I do remember fighting for shade on my ankles from the Ocotillo and the cacti last year. Just that little bit helps. Like, honestly, it's like you're just like leaning towards whatever shade you can possibly get. Well, speaking of that, we've got a great strategy for running the race, but I think we've got some other athletes who are going to be phenomenal athletes. And we have a special guest joining us today, Mrs. Tara Dower. Let's hear it for her. So you heard all about our strategies. Did you learn anything from that? Are you going to change your game plan at all? No, just going for it. Tara, thank you so much for joining us. We're excited to see you on the course.
Tara, I have a question for you. Do you consider yourself more of a house cat or a wild desert lion?
Yeah.
Can you translate that for me?
I definitely think she's a desert lion also.
I want more of a roar coming out of you. Let's go. There we go. Also, do you plan to mark your territory at each aid station? No.
Not enough fluid out on the course.
Don't waste fluids.
Waste not,
don't
want
waste
not.
fluids.
Okay, I've got one more for you. Are you planning on hunting along the way? What are you hunting?
Mostly javelina.
Javelina. Okay. And how are you going to celebrate at the finish line?
Catnip.
Yes, let's go. Welcome, Tara Dower.
Thanks for having me, guys. I didn't want to say anything. I was trying to be in character when you were
We did
talking
great.
to
We
me.
did great. We killed it.
I
We
did not
followed
catch
it
that.
all. We
Oh,
understood
we planned
everything.
this. We planned this. This
Yes.
was.
I was
Translator.
like, what is happening here?
As a cat owner myself, I can speak cat.
We should have had the laser
I
Should have
know.
pointer.
a little
That's what the
something
pacer
there.
needs to do.
Just point a laser like 2
Your
feet in
pace.
front of you the whole time.
That's what Chris and Sierra need to do. They need to have a little
Just
laser
chasing it.
pointer.
Absolutely love it. Well, Tara, we're excited to have you out here in the desert. This is not your first foray out here. I believe you have one of the most iconic photos in all of trail and ultra running from this course.
Yeah. Just happened. Howie was right there. He just got the shot. And we've been buds ever since.
I actually don't. What happened? How did that happen to you?
I mean, like, the jumping.
Explain what happened.
Well, okay, so I was just like, I saw you. I saw you out there, and I was like, what do I do with rocks in my stomach? Like, I felt like there's rocks in my stomach every time I drank or ate. And I actually asked you, and you're like, oh, I don't know. And I was like, well, crap, I don't know
That's
what
a
to
new
do.
Well, what now?
And so like
Stop eating rocks.
I think it was the second or third. I think it might have been the third loop. It was probably the third loop. And it was just like, it was getting so bad and I was just not hydrating. I learned that that's not hydrating properly is when you have the rocks in your stomach. And I just like was a little delirious, and it doesn't take much, but I just like brushed up against the jumping cholla, and I got littered. I heard a story. Someone was like, "Oh, I heard you like fell in a pit of cactuses." I was like, "No, I literally just brushed up against it because I was just kind of like, weaving on the trail. I just wasn't feeling great, and that happened, And then I didn't DNF because of the cholla. Everyone thinks I DNF'd because of that, but it was really because I couldn't get my nutrition straight, and it was so uncomfortable to run. I tried.
How did you get the cholla out?
I had to walk 2 miles
Painfully.
to the aid station.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I remember I was like, it happened and a bunch of runners were there and they're trying to help me. And I was so frustrated. And I just wish I could remember who was with me at that point. Like, it wasn't anyone I knew, but I wish I got their names because they were so nice. They're helping so much. And then I just like got so frustrated and I just started like running away. And I just like ran away and they're like, okay. All right. And I was like, I just need to go. And I ran like 2 miles at the cholla. And it was like bouncing because it's barbed. So it's just in there and just bouncing up and down. And yeah, I just want to set the record straight. I didn't fall into a pit of cacti.
I don't think I've seen any pits of cholla out there. There
There's
are
a lot
plenty
of cholla.
cholla.
There's a
but
lot of cholla.
Pit sounds pretty
Aggressive.
Well, the biggest mistake you can do is actually make any contact with the cholla. Like, even if you see like one of the cholla balls on the course, don't try and kick it out of the way, because all of a sudden it's going to make its way onto your foot or onto your sock, and before you know it, like if you and worse, try and move it, like flick it with your hand, that it becomes a problem.
I saw your Facebook post about this is the thing you should bring. It's a comb, just a regular comb.
Absolutely.
Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah.
So that's how you get them
just
out?
a simple men's 50-cent comb, because you can use it to
that makes
to flick
sense.
it off. The other thing people use also is a fork. Like, people will carry a fork, and whichever they want to do. Somebody actually said a plastic fork. I wouldn't use a plastic fork because they're not known for being flexible, and you might actually break the fork and cause all sorts of problems. But like, I think
have
that
a fork stuck in you.
and some people just aren't
He's
allowed to have
done.
metal silverware. So like, I think that just a simple, cheap men's comb is the most valuable thing you can, and it doesn't take
Are
any
you carrying
space.
one
It's
this year?
nothing to worry
No.
about.
No.
It doesn't hurt to have with you.
She's not carrying one though.
Your pacer
Did
might
not
be
learn
carrying
her
She
it.
lesson.
likes to live dangerously.
Crazy.
Because then I'm like expecting to get it in me. If I'm like,
Willing
if I
it
have
into
it
the
with me,
universe.
then
Don't be prepared. That's
Yeah.
silly.
Just have it at the cruise stop,
Maybe.
We got the comb.
maybe.
Well, maybe
The
a Samaritan will
chances,
have
I
one
mean,
out
of
there
having
just in
it
case.
twice.
Hopefully it doesn't come to that, though. Hopefully it doesn't come to that.
I think she's a one and done on cholla champion.
The cholla champion. I love that. That's actually a great nickname. But hopefully we break that trend this year and we become known as a Javelina champion. How are you feeling for the race? Walk us through that a little bit.
I'm so superstitious. You have to knock on wood. Oh my gosh.
There we go, knocked on it for
Oh
you.
my gosh.
I thought we were willing this into existence.
No,
I thought that's the plan.
No, we're very superstitious.
Only on something. Okay,
yeah.
gotcha.
What was the question? I just
How
heard
are
the
you
one-
How are you
feeling?
feeling for
Oh,
Javelina?
I'm feeling great.
You've had your eyes set on Western States ever since Western States last year. I know this has been a big goal for you to
This
come
year.
here. This last Western States this year, yes. And I know it's been a goal for you to come back and earn a golden ticket. You're in the hunt for that now. How are we feeling leading into this year's race?
Good. Yeah. I feel fine. Yeah. I'm just going out there to have fun and I really want to finish the race. I want to be happy with my effort. I think like I'm the happiest with my races. Like, I don't need a win, but if I like problem solve, if I stay mentally strong, if I like work through any problems, that's when I'm the happiest with a race. Like, I've had races where I've set like a course record and I've won and it was just like incredible, but I was like there's just like a lot of mental turmoil going on and I just wasn't happy with that result. So really, truly, what I'm trying to do for this race is just like be really proud of the entire effort. And obviously, like, yeah, I'm gonna go out there, I'm gonna try to race really well and try to win and do what I can, but I just want to be proud of my effort. And I know that's like sandbagging a little bit, I guess, but I don't know. That's what I've come down to. I know that's maybe not the answer everyone wants to hear. I'm not demolish anyone.
I think all of us understand that you having your best race out there means there's probably going to be a pretty good result attached to that. And you've got a lot of competition out there. It's going to be a lot of fun. We're excited to talk about that a little bit later. But I did want to give you the opportunity to kind of talk about like what it was to prepare for this race, and also coming back and even just shooting for that golden ticket. They're never guaranteed. They're always a challenge. We all know we've all shot for them at some point.
Nope,
or
not.
I
some
know
of us
they're
stick
very
to the
hard.
200s.
They're hard.
Yeah, they're never guaranteed out here. But how has your training's been going well for this? I've seen you doing some sauna training, getting acclimated to the heat.
Yeah, I love the heat. I just like being hot. My body doesn't like the heat. Like, it expels everything when I'm hot. But, like, I love the heat. So I just, like, stay in the sauna. I love the sauna. Yeah, after Mammoth, the big focus was just recovery. I just realized out there, even though I told Rachel out there, I was like, I feel great. I was trying to gaslight myself and we were running together. I was like, she's like, so how do you feel? You're doing so well. Like,
I was like, I'm so glad you're here. It's shocking that you're feeling so good. We're doing an 8-minute mile at mile 60.
and I was
That's
like
amazing.
putting on the biggest fake smile, like, yeah, this is great. This is fine. Everything's fine. This is great.
On fire.
I was struggling a lot. Pretty much from the beginning, it was just really rough. So the big focus after Mammoth, like since I'm not recovered fully from the long trail and not fully recovered from Mammoth, the big focus was just like, I'm going to try to recover, and I'm eating a lot of protein, a lot of carbs. I've been sleeping like 9 hours a night. It's been incredible.
Sounds incredible.
Yeah.
It's kind of training I can get behind these days.
Yeah, just sleep.
And like at this point, like with a month to go, like yeah, you can like add some fitness on there, but really all the money's in the bank already. So let's just go into the race with what we got and hope it's enough.
Yeah, I think there's benefit to being as fresh as possible when you're trying to do something fast. I think there's a big benefit. So I'm glad to hear that you've been relaxing a little bit.
Oh yeah.
Well,
big time relaxer.
Also, Tara, you went into Mammoth and you were planning on racing 200 miles at Mammoth after the long trail. And then during Mammoth, I want you to tell in your own words, but you decided while you were racing, what am I doing? I want to be going for a ticket. So if you could talk us through that mindset, that process of why you're here. And I mean, you have a burning fire to get back to States. So if you could talk to us a little bit about why you dropped out of Mammoth in order to be here.
Yeah, well, it started at the Glass Mountains, going up with Rod up and over those ridiculous
I think
mountains.
it's Rod's fault. Is
I
it Rod's
saw-
fault?
I saw y'all's lights in the distance, just like going, just slowly, slowly trickling in the distance. And I was just like, this is so hard. I'm not with Rachel anymore, so it's like,
So everything sucks.
yeah, Rod's so much fun, but Rachel is exponentially
I love
more
that
fun.
you called me a walking podcast.
She literally talked the entire time. It was great.
Just ask her one question and just let her fill up 15 minutes.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
But yeah, so, I mean, I was just going up the Glass Mountains, and I was just processing a lot, and I got to the aid station, and I had all intentions of leaving the aid station, but then I was just like, I had thought about it on the Glass Mountains. I was like, oh, like, this isn't really, like, my A goal. My A goal, like, ever since Western States, like, how it went, I've been wanting to go back, and I have Javelina on the schedule. So what's the most important thing here? Should I finish this race just to finish it? I'm not feeling 100%. Or should I DNF and, try to recover as much as I can for Javelina? And that's why we're here.
Yeah, and I would imagine like a finish at Mammoth doing a 215-mile effort would not lend itself to your A goal of getting back to States. Like you wouldn't be competitive at this race.
No, I don't think I would. I don't. How do
That
you
would
feel?
be an
How do you feel?
impressive. I feel so thankful that I'm not racing this. I've had a couple people come up and they're like, "Oh my gosh, are you racing?" No, I'm still sitting on the couch most of the time. Like I can't imagine like having that quick of a turnaround. So I think you put yourself in a really good position to be fresh as you can coming into this.
Like DNFing, all of us can say
Sucks.
it sucks. It's really,
No one goes into a race planning on a DNF.
yeah. So we're all good now.
Well, maybe none of you have.
Well, I just think
Some of us back of the Packers going full well knowing how it's going to go.
Yeah, no, I mean, I think that it's those kinds of like decisions that I think lend to a healthy career, that lend to your best races, because you're learning, you're not getting stubborn on the day of like, no, I'm going to push through this. It's going to take away from the rest of my season, and ultimately I might miss out on my A goal, the goal that I really want to do, the thing that excites me, that gives me all the passion to show up day in and day out for training. And I think you made a very smart decision. We're all proud of you for that, and I think that lends itself to a great career. So
appreciate it. Yeah, hopefully it goes well tomorrow. If not, I'm finishing the race.
Well, you are no stranger to the desert. Obviously a fantastic Black Canyon race. You've been here previously. Do you prefer running in the desert? Is this like...
I really like the heat. I love the heat. The body doesn't like the heat. My body, like I said, just doesn't appreciate the heat. I like it. I think I've just learned to like it. Like the first Black Canyon I did, that's where I met you. Yeah. I was talking about this today. But my first Black Canyon went horribly. It went terribly.
As they mostly do.
Yeah, Black Canyon's such a hard race.
It's a really
yeah, I guess there's just like a lot of races here. It's difficult, but you learn to love the desert.
It's relentless out here. Absolutely relentless out here. The desert is a respecter of none. And that's kind of what makes it fun, in my opinion. It is a masochistic course for sure. We all know we're getting into the depths here. Do you guys have any more questions for Tara before we let her go kick her feet up and relax?
Yeah, I need to go pick up my packet and do my shakeout.
Yeah, go do that.
Yeah.
Thank you, Tara, for coming on.
Yeah, thank you guys.
We're cheering for you.
I'm so glad.
Do your
I'm so
thing.
glad we're all here. I
And
love
Tara's
y'all.
crew, get a comb. Or don't get a comb, because she's not doing
They're
that
not
again this year.
listening.
But anyway.
Thank you so much,
watch
Tara.
the
Yeah, thank you
Appreciate
guys.
it.
I'm going to grab my stuff here. Woo.
See you later.
Bye.
Mrs. Tara Dower, thank you so much for joining us. Man, excited to see what she's able to do out there.
Absolutely.
No stranger to the desert, has had success out here in the past at Black Canyon, just earlier this year.
I mean, I think we need to talk about that performance, and she kind of touched on it, but Black Canyon was an incredible performance.
A phenomenal
Just not that long ago, and it feels like Black Canyon was years ago now.
It's been a busy year.
But it's been, I mean,
It's
it
been a
always
big
is.
year.
It always feels that way because Black Canyon just gets tucked into that early
It's that
of the
early
year.
February
Yeah.
race,
Yeah.
and it's one of the golden ticket races. Which, like, let's start this part of the conversation. We're here for the golden ticket race.
Let's go.
That's one of the fun things that makes Javelina. Not only is it a fairly difficult course, it's an unassumingly difficult course. The competition shows up, and everyone is also vying for one of those golden ticket spots. Which, if the course isn't hot enough, the competition is going to be even hotter. That lends to some silly mistakes being made out there. In my opinion, I think it's a lot easier to get rushed through an aid station, to forget an extra gel, to not consider something, to not take the time to get ice down, all in search of that golden ticket race. And when you're in a race that's a golden ticket race, it's fast enough. In my opinion, it's like mountain biking. You add that kind of speed and that kind of effort going into it, there's very little room for error to be made out there. Do we think that that's going to make a lot of people make some mistakes this year?
I think so, and I think
think
that's
so.
one of the things, Zach, that you bring up is that in most races, it seems that we cover, like being thoughtful and deliberate is the key to victory. Whereas in this race, there's no time for that. You have to be in and out so quickly. I remember David Roche's crew was set up right behind our studio last year. I hope they did it again because it's such a great thing to see and witness how quickly they're in and out. He basically throws everything at his people, comes in, loops, comes back out, and by that point, like maybe he's like splashing down a couple times with a sponge, and then he's gone. Like the aid station time per lap for the very front of the men's and women's races is maybe a minute to a minute 20. Like that's how fast they're moving through. It's crazy how quick.
I wanted to make a comment on this because I noticed it last year when I was doing field commentary at Jackass, that there are so many people. So we have 845 entrants in the 100-miler, right? That is a lot of humans that each aid station have to serve. And of course, we can't, you're not going to look at somebody, okay, you're an elite runner, I'm going to give you this. You're a backpacker, I'm going to give you this, right? Like everybody's getting served at the same time. And so it makes it tricky because if you're trying to have those quick aid station turnarounds on the course, you gotta really be diligent. Like I mentioned, Lauren Pirette's going, give me that. Like being really decisive and really like, I need this now, because there's so many people at these aid stations. So I think actually the quickest aid station turnarounds are here at JQ, where you can actually see your people and you have a plan for that NASCAR turnaround. But during the aid stations out on the course, to be really mindful, going in, knowing exactly what you want, going right to getting water to get doused and getting right to the ice and getting out of there as fast as possible.
Absolutely.
I think the elites actually probably treat this as a one on-course aid station race. Like, they're blowing through Coyote Camp and Rattlesnake Ranch unless they absolutely have to do something other than maybe a quick splash of ice water or something like that over the face. I think that and you've probably seen this as well, like when they're coming out, or maybe even some of them treat it like a one aid station period situation where like every 20 they're basically trying to do what they need to do.
But is that smart?
I was about to say, can you
I
be
don't
successful
know.
doing that? I
It's-
would imagine not.
People try and push the edges. Like that's what this race has become. It's become, I mean, it's obviously the wrong term is used as a foot race, but like every single second matters on this course now because the times have gotten so fast.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that we're seeing like that level of competition. And if your goal is to get that ticket here, everybody else is shaving seconds off with whether it's, the super shoes, whether it's a cooling technique, whether it's a faster aid station split. I have never seen anyone change out of an aid station or fly through an aid station quite like Riley Brady. That is a like pirouette, like spin move, vest come off, new vest on, and there's not even a break in stride and they're gone. And like that right there can be the 1 to 2 minutes to 3 minutes per lap that puts you 15 minutes ahead of your competition by the end of the race. So to that point exactly, yes, it is all about shaving time. But when you shave time, you're taking risks. And when you take those risks, blow-ups can be disastrous out there. But that's what it takes to get a golden ticket out here.
Yeah, I think that one thing I've learned over the past year is definitely you are not going to be in the mix if you do not take a bet on yourself and you don't go for those risks. But you also have to be very realistic about how much of the race do you still have left? What is going to happen in that time frame? Like, is it going to get 20 degrees warmer? And like, how is your pace right now going to affect how you're going to feel later?
We don't worry about that.
I guess not. I guess
That's-
you kind of can't.
That's a
Maybe
lap
it's
5 problem.
Yeah. But I don't know. I think you do have to put yourself in the front in order to obviously I don't think you're gonna surprise people at Javelina by pulling an Eder Ramirez and going from 95th to podium.
You don't have the time like you would at a race like UTMB, where we've talked about
Right.
Ludo Pomeray, who is 50 some odd back, considering a DNF halfway through the race, and then wins the race.
Right.
Like, you don't have that kind of time out here. I mean, even slowing down 30 seconds per minute mile, that's something that all of us who run towards the front, you can slow it down 30 seconds. Like, oh, that feels so much better, and you can gather yourself, and that might cost you 5 minutes by the end of Jackass Junction to the finish to start your next lap. But you've recovered quite a bit, and you're able to attack the next lap even harder. It's decisions like that all day, and I'm really excited to get into the conversation now about who do we think is going to win this race. We've got a list of athletes on both sides. Let's start with the 100K.
We're covering the 100K too? I didn't know that.
We're-
I have
we're-
not looked at the 100K entrance.
My vote is for Katie
racing.
Asmuth.
Yeah, I was going to say, I'm really looking out for that Katie Asmuth.
I thought we were just covering the 100-miler.
Well,
Sorry.
you because you're racing, we're going to give you an out. You don't have to participate in this section.
Great.
Because we know how that feels. But before we get started on the competition in terms of let's talk about the notable drops for this race period. Throughout the season, we've had a handful. Sylvie Abel just let us know that they're not going to be able to make it out here.
drat.
Her son has RSV and she got sick. So sadly, she's not going to be able to make it. Anna McKenna, Natalie Sandoval, who is a local favorite out here, just an absolute crusher. Amy Cameron. And then on the men's side, we have Cyril Garcia, Nathan Brown, Nick Iben, Amy Cameron, we already talked about, Janosch Kowalczyk, almost Raj Panu.
I'm so excited
I'm
he's
excited
here.
to see here. He's
excited he's here.
He's my Denver homeboy. We're going to talk about him shortly. And then I did hear this morning that Adam Mary is also not going to be out here due to a fractured metatarsal, I believe it was earlier this
He's had a rough
season.
go this year.
Yeah, something with his
That's
foot.
not what he texted me. He just said that he's not going to make it this year.
Well, he
All right.
gave me a little bit more in depth, so maybe I'm sharing some HIPAA information there.
that
But
one.
yeah, so unfortunately for him, he won't be able to make it out here. But we still have a slew of athletes. Chris, who are you most looking forward to here in the 100K?
I'm actually really looking forward to see what Corinne Chalvoy does in the 100K. I love talking about this race with her because last year she ran, I believe, just a 16-hour 100-mile, and that was something that it was like everything came together for her perfectly. Like she was so, and she will talk about that race at length, at how it just seemed like everything clicked perfectly. And now that she's got that experience out here and knowing what it takes to succeed, I would love to see what she does on the 100K level, where she will basically be having a half a day of it. So I think that's probably who I'm looking forward to on the women's side.
She was 5th last year.
Yeah,
Here at the 100 miler.
5th with a 16-hour flat.
That's insane. That's insane.
And she's super, super fit right now. I've been watching her all season long, just seemingly getting more fit every time I go for a run with her. Every time I see her out on a course, I'm like, man, she's primed for this. It seems like this has been her kind of A goal, looking forward to it. So I'm excited to see her out here.
And she just set the course record, I believe, or close to the course record at the URA 50 miler.
I believe it was a course record.
Okay. In 15 hours or something, a 50 miler, right? So that versatility is pretty awesome.
Impressive.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No stranger to hard things.
That's right.
Yeah, no, she's and her stride is built for this course too. I mean, she is her running economy is actually pretty amazing for somebody as tall as she is too.
Yeah.
Absolutely. A couple of other athletes that I've been looking at is Claudia Blanford, a couple of Canadians, Katie Kowalski and Claudia Blanford, also both of them from Canada, seem to have some pretty solid results behind them.
We've had some Canadians come down and, despite the heat, show up and have some good results. I know notably Del Salt has come down here and run. I know she's a Canadian 24-hour national team member and had success here. So absolutely.
Yeah, it seems like there's always a Canadian contingent here in Black Canyon that come and absolutely crush it. So I'm looking at both of them. Also, there was a name on this list.
Are we going to talk about Alexi?
Alexi.
Okay, cool. Yeah.
Yes.
I want to
As
talk
I
about
was
Alexi.
scrolling down, I saw, and I'm like, wait, that can't be. There's only one Alexi Pappas. Like, who?
Yeah.
What in the world? Confirmed, she is here running the 100K.
Let's go, Alexi.
Absolutely. I know that there has been conversations in the past of her wanting to hunt down a golden ticket. So is this her foray into, let's get 100K done out in the desert? Is this a foreshadowing of Black Canyon?
Could be. I mean, she took a swing
know.
at Black Canyon a couple of years ago, and it didn't go the way she had hoped. But, for those that aren't familiar, former Olympian in the 10,000?
I think so.
10K,
Okay, yeah. And, but, definitely has the talent and the speed to do very well at this race, potentially putting that course record in jeopardy, I think.
Absolutely. I think course records do stand a chance to fall because of the temperatures.
Yeah, I hope so too.
Yeah. And on the men's side, I had Matt Vera and Rory Moynihan. Obviously, we love Rory.
I'm so stoked to see Rory back out
Trail
here for
gangster.
100K.
He's out there going to crush it, as per usual. Also, a dude by the name of Brandon Hollywood has been first or second at every single Javelina night run leading up to this.
Oh,
And so I've been you look at him, and all of his times he just is first or second in 5K, 10K, 50K.
I dig the name.
I was gonna say, with a name like Brandon Hollywood, that's right there is a costume in and of itself.
And that Jackass Night Run has gotten sneaky competitive over the years. I remember when it was first incorporated back in 2017, 2018, the whole idea of it actually running that race, I think, oh, that means you're doing it wrong. But no, there have been some people, some big names, some big talents that have come in and started running the Jackass Night Runs. So finishing first, second, or third in that race is a big deal now.
Absolutely.
Mickey Davis, who will be paced by Riley Brady in the 100 miler, won the Jackass 31K last year. So cool. Have you heard that name? I don't know if you have. Well, Mickey Davis, now it's on your radar. Let's go,
now
Mickey
it is
Davis.
on the radar. That's going to be a lot of fun. So let's move into the 100 mile. 829 total entrants, 289 females, 535 males, 5 non-binary athletes, all towing the line tomorrow in the wave starts. the list, we can talk about all of these athletes and spend the next handful of hours here because the list just goes on and on. We've got former winners showing up on the women's side. We've got some incredible former winner from last year towing the line again this year, putting the course record potentially at risk. We've got the U.S. fastest 100-mile athlete right now towing the line as well, who I'm really excited to see in Raj Panu. Man, let's dive into it. Chris, give me some of your men's picks.
One name that didn't come in there was Will Murray. Will Murray was a guy who, after Black Canyon, it was kind of like that Shaquille O'Neal comment, "I'm sorry, I wasn't familiar with your game," because he had a very limited finish history. He had a 4th place at Leadville, which is very, very good, but at the same time hadn't really had that high-profile finish. Basically comes into Black Canyon, an insanely competitive Black Canyon this year, and finishes 2nd, walks away with the golden ticket. Unfortunately, had to withdraw from Western States due to health, but is back out here and wants another shot at that golden ticket. I am really looking forward to see what Will Murray does on this course.
Yeah, he's proven once before he's capable of getting a ticket. I don't think this is any different. I know that he's got a very limited selection of 100-milers under his belt, but they've all been phenomenal.
Yeah.
And I don't think that running the time that he's looking to run tomorrow, he can run that amount of time.
He's clearly taking this very seriously. He's from New Jersey and went and did a Colorado altitude stint for this race. So he is gunning for it. I'm really excited
You've
to see
seen
this.
those, like the days that he stacks up, 40-mile days and then a massive bike ride to bookend it. Like, he trains extremely intelligently, I believe. It's a very unique way, but it works super well for him. Honestly, I think you only get to be the dark horse once. I think he's burned that match.
Yeah, we're watching for you, Will.
So he doesn't get to play that dark horse unknown, and he's on my list pretty high up there.
I have Caleb Bowen, right?
Oh, yeah.
So I actually asked Dan Green, because obviously, like, they're in a cohort together out in West Virginia, and I asked Dan Green what he thought about him, and he said, quote, "Oh, he's a dog," which I thought was pretty funny. But he's the cross-country coach for, is it Marshall?
Marshall.
Yep.
So, I mean, obviously, like, he knows how to train to get fast. I mean, that's what cross-country is. And he did do, was it the 100K?
100-mile last year.
He was 7th last year.
But
in
recently
14-20.
he did the Hurricane, right? Did he just set a CR at the
I think so,
Hurricane?
yeah.
Yes.
So I mean,
Yep.
he's clearly got speed. So he's somebody that I'm pretty interested in. According to Dan, he's been taking this very seriously. He has been to states, and it sounds like he had a rough day. So I could imagine like wanting to come back here and get that ticket so that you can go back and maybe do a little bit more redemption, perhaps. But he's somebody that I'm particularly kind of excited to watch.
That'll be a really fun one for sure. I think there's a handful of others. I mean, JP Giblin is one.
Of course.
I saw him sprinting through the finish line.
I love watching JP Giblin race. And I told him about this when we covered him at Run Rabbit, and he finished 3rd place. JP, when he won a golden ticket a few years ago at Bandera, came out, 3 weeks later at Black Canyon, and came out and was leading the race after 20 miles. That dude has one gear, and it is like basically to put the pedal to the floor and see what happens. Like I had a great conversation with him talking about, like, sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. But by God, you know what JP Giblin's going to try and do on a course, and he's going to basically try and make everybody else run his race. He doesn't care what anyone else is doing.
Exactly.
Yeah, I was going to say he takes those risks. We were talking about it earlier. He's one of those to take it, right? So I hope for JP that he's really taking care of himself and, and still able to make it past that first amazing loop.
Yeah, I would be shocked to not see him in the top 3. At least for the first 3 laps.
That's the surest bet in the entire
I'd
race
go
is
to
that
Vegas.
JP Giblin will be one of the first 3 people through that first loop.
Yeah, I would go to Vegas exclusively with that bet, I think, this year.
Speaking of Vegas, we have a Jackpot 100 winner here towing the line in Raj Paul. He's proven himself to be the fastest American 100-miler right now with 2, not just 1, but 2 sub-1200s.
That's so fast.
You can do it.
He's nuts.
You can do it once and you can call it a fluke. I don't know if you can call a sub-12 a fluke. But doing it twice, you cement yourself as one of the fastest American runners to have ever graced any start line. And the dude trains meticulously. I know that right now he's slightly concerned about his knee coming into it, didn't know if he was going to toe the line. He was very open about this on social media, decided to take the shot. Last year, 4th place in what to him was a very disappointing race.
At a 13-16.
I know, bless his heart.
Yeah. I'm so upset I got 13-16 at Javelina. I mean, the dude has an incredible amount of talent, and he, again, trains meticulously. So I'm really excited to see Raj out there.
Yeah,
Lightning Raj.
I've actually run at a race with him. I was doing, I think, the 48-hour when he was going for the he did the 100-miler at Jackpot.
Yeah.
And I mean, the guy is a gazelle. I mean, his form is flawless the entire time. I remember I was watching, because, as a 48-hour person, I'm like, oh, these people are idiots. Like, they're going way too fast. And I remember just being like, holy crap, like, this guy looks amazing. And he just, like, kept looking amazing the whole time. So
he suffers, but the gait doesn't change.
And his hair is fantastic.
He looks so aerodynamic when he runs, doesn't he?
Best hair in ultra running is Rajpal Panu.
Tim, I don't know if Tim Tolson's
sorry,
gonna be okay
like
with that.
I said what I said.
That's gonna.
snap.
I want to see both of them duke it
Let's
out
go.
for best hair.
Yeah.
We need a poll going in the chat.
There we go.
But
There we
but
go.
yeah, so he's somebody, and I have been keeping tabs on his Strava because he is somebody that I think has so much potential to like lower that CR if he's healthy.
Yeah.
So I'm really hopeful, and it sounds like he's kind of cautiously optimistic, or else I don't think he would be here. So he's somebody that I'm also really excited to watch race tomorrow.
The interesting thing too, he didn't taper. Did you guys see that?
I did see that.
Yeah, he decided not to taper because he was trying to check out the knee and see if it was going to be okay.
A short taper.
So it's like, whoo.
One day
like-
taper.
Yeah, 1 day
Well,
taper.
he did take some time off, I think, like earlier this month or something, or like
Yeah.
Yeah,
If you saw his training, you saw a nice little dip down in there, and then like a little peak right before the
Yeah.
race. And that's Raj. If anyone can handle it, it's
Right.
that guy.
He
Yeah,
wouldn't
I'm
show
not
up if
worried.
he wasn't here.
I'm
yeah,
not
if he
worried.
wasn't
Yeah.
ready, he wouldn't be here.
Yeah, so I'm excited to see his race unfold.
Also, one thing that will make you fall in love with Raj even more is
his
like
cats, I know.
he's very, very specific about what races he does because he doesn't have a lot of time. He works with school-age kids. He doesn't really let this leak. He doesn't let his kids know that he teaches like what he does on the weekends, or like that he's got some
so great.
superpower of coming out and just crushing these races. But he has to be very choosy and picky with his races, and this is one that he's really excited to come to. So I don't think that he would pull that trigger on this and take that time away from work and doing what he does to just, we'll see what happens.
I would love to see him at Western States.
Same.
Absolutely.
Especially being in Vegas, I mean, you know how to manage heat. And I think that this course is really well suited to people who are okay with loops, because I know some people are like, man, I'm not doing it if I'm repeating myself. And then B, this is a runner's course. So if you're fast, I think that you have a really good shot. Even if you've not really done a 100-miler before, like if you're fast at other distances, like you could do pretty well here, I think.
Speaking of runners, there's one person we haven't talked about yet, Sage Canaday. Might have one
I
of
love
the
that he's here.
Might have one of
Let's
the fastest
go.
marathon times of anybody
Yeah.
here at the start line. He's an Olympic trials qualifier. Is that correct?
I believe so.
I
and
believe he's an Olympic trials qualifier.
I
So he's
just-
got that speed.
And I think he ran the 30K at Speed Goat this year, but he doesn't race a lot anymore, and he's been around the game for so long, and it's so fun to see his name back on the start list.
Absolutely.
Hopefully going for a ticket. Let's go,
and
Sage.
I would love
he
to see
has
that.
a golden ticket that he earned in Arizona at Black Canyon several years ago. So
And he
he's
held that
hosting-
course record until just recently.
That was a long hold on that course.
For a course that consistently gets the top talent in the country showing up for a golden ticket, and to hold it for that many years, that's pretty astounding. We know he knows how to run in the desert, so we'll see what kind of day he puts together. Let's move on to the women's side of things. Casey Lichtig.
One thing I do
go
want
for it.
I need to apologize. I shortchanged Corinne Chalvet when I mentioned she ran 16 hours last year. No, she let me know she ran 15:24
Oh,
and
heck
still
yeah.
finished
Let's go.
5th.
Yeah, that's so
That's how fast.
good
That
for
tells
her.
you women's
How
race.
fast- that
That's
tells you
how fast it
this race is getting. And on that women's side, we have
Are we not going to talk about David Roche?
David.
Should
I
we
mean,
talk about him? I mean,
do we need to talk about him? Is there
No.
anything
Just
else
like
that needs to be
assume.
said about
Yeah.
David Roche? We all know that what he's capable of here on this course. Last year's winner, so close to
Just
that
missed
course
that CR.
record, like so
I think
close.
if he knew what the course record was, he could have done it.
He absolutely knew.
Yeah, like
Coming
that
into
last
Rattlesnake
half mile,
Ranch,
he was like
definitely knew.
celebrating. I was here for it. He was like having a good time.
So maybe this is the year that
I think
he knows what it is now.
I think he knows what the course record is.
He had actually had a really bad split from Rattlesnake to here. I think that he basically just had a literally 11:59 p.m. breakdown, like as far as what happened there.
Yeah, it definitely seems like he was on it most all of the day until that last split, that last section. And,
Yep.
maybe that was the idea, at least for me when I show up to races, let's blow up as close to the finish line as possible. That's always the plan. Hopefully it's like 5 feet afterwards, but I know I'm going to blow up at some point.
That's one strategy.
And maybe his blow up was at Rattlesnake, and he was able to still get it into the finish here. We know he's capable of great things. He's also looking at 20 degrees cooler this year.
Yeah.
So
and
that's
talk about a confidence booster at Leadville. He
again.
Shattered, or he got his own course record, not even really going into the race thinking that was what he was doing. So him just deciding to run Leadville resulted in a CR not long ago. And again, I said before, this race is one that if you're good at running, and that's at 10K minimum.
Yeah.
He's
The
impossible.
heat makes it feel like 10K out
That's
there.
fair.
That's for sure.
But
He
yeah,
also has nothing to lose, though, right?
True.
He's proven himself. He's here to have a good time. I feel like he's just ready to throw down and in a really good mindset. And so I'm really excited to see what happens out there. I think there's going to be people there challenging for that course record too.
Agreed.
I think everybody, men and women, are on course record hunt.
Oh, it is course record watch
Yeah.
tomorrow. With
Yeah.
the temperatures, with the amount of talent showing up, I think even without the cooler temperatures, we'd still be looking at is this course record going down? Let's talk about the women's side of things. We are excited for the handful of ladies. Mostly for me, Kareth. I'm excited to see what Kareth is able to do out here.
She's on an upward trajectory for sure.
She's
Absolutely.
on a roll this year. I can't believe she's here after what she's put in this year. She's had an insane year.
Absolutely. And you look at we're talking about David Roche and riding
Yeah.
the wave after his Leadville. Look, Kareth, same thing.
Yeah.
If she continues this trend and it rolls into Javelina, this is theoretically the capstone of the season, the end of the season for these runners. Has her whole season been leading up to this race? What is she going to be capable of doing here?
Well, and I certainly think that her turnaround between TDS and the Hurricane, where she got a CR, that is an impressive turnaround. So, as far as her ability to recover goes, I think that's something that's really impressive. And I think going into this race as fresh as you possibly can be is really vital. So yeah, I'm interested in her too.
Absolutely.
Can we walk down what she's done here though this year? She's won Way Too Cool. She was 5th at Canyons. She won Twisted Fork 68K, 2nd at Hilo, won TDS, first American ever to have won TDS.
What up?
And then a week later,
That is
she
insane.
won the Hurricane 100K
with a course
With a
record.
This season has been insane. So I think for all of us, we just keep there's no way you're racing the Hurricane. She didn't take a down week. She just went straight to racing. It's just wild to me that she's able to perform like that and have that consistency. And so what I hope as a fan, I'm hoping that she can also
Just
show
shock us.
up here and
Let's
just keep it going, keep the ball rolling.
Well, she proved it at Way Too Cool that she can run fast, right? That is a speed course. TDS is not exactly a speedy course. High Lonesome is not a speedy
Right.
course.
Does
But
she
she
have
was terrifying because there's a section on High Lonesome where you do an out and back, and I just remember I was coming up and I was she is way closer than I thought anyone was going to be, and she looked so collected. So she was terrifying. She terrified me at High Lonesome.
That's always fun to have behind you, Chris.
I was going to say, if coming in and maybe a win or even a course record, that's going to nudge her up to near the top rather than maybe down ballot on Ultra Running of the Year type awards. So that's definitely something that we could see her, go from basically being in the middle of the top 10 to possibly being in that, in that talk of the very top of the ballot.
Yeah, and she wants to get back to Western States. She didn't have the
I know
day she's capable
but she got
of.
12th, right?
I think it was 12.
Barely outside of
with her
that
and
top
Lottie.
10.
Yeah, it was 11th and 12th. Yeah, that was in 2024. So we should talk about Lauren Puretz because she's also coming off a huge effort at UTMB. She was 8th at UTMB, first American female, I should say. Her 4th Javelina 100.
Yeah, experience in spades.
So experienced. And I love that both of them are moms. So can we just bucket that together. The fact that Kareth
Yes.
and Lauren are showing up shredders as moms too.
Can we like honestly stop saying like dad strength? And I think we need to talk about like mom
Who
strength
talks
as
about
well.
dad strength? It's
A lot of
all
people.
about mom strength.
Yeah.
Mom strength. Come on.
Mom strength is for real, and
For
those ladies are
real.
absolutely showing it. Lauren, phenomenal races out here in the desert, many a times. I think she's absolutely one to watch towards the front, and I think this was a really big boost year for her with that UTMB finish.
Yeah, and what she did last year here, just missing a golden ticket by running a 15-hour flat. Like, that's just amazing to me. You think about, the level of competition here. To say that you missed on a golden ticket because you ran a 15-hour 100-miler, it's crazy. That's just crazy
She's
to me.
so fit. I mean, I think
Yeah.
coming off of UTMB, the next week after UTMB, you guys, 75-mile week, and then after that, a 90-mile week. Like, what are we doing? How do you recover like this after UTMB, where others are still kind of looking around though and like, I just went for my first jog, right? It's pretty incredible, her comeback. And I mean, she's 42 years old. Like,
I know,
she's
that's so sick.
It's so,
So
it's so
sick.
inspiring. I'm so impressed, and I'm really rooting for her.
We definitely got 2 former winners towing
Yeah.
the
Let's
line
go.
tomorrow as well. And
Two-time winners.
That's right.
That is correct. So Devin Yanko and Casey Lichtig both towing the line tomorrow. In tip-top shape, they are a formidable opponent out there in
Yeah.
the ladies' field for sure.
Yeah, I think that, Devin, I believe her first win was in 2015 and then came back a few years ago for a second time. And Casey's were, I believe, in 16 and 19. So
14 and 19.
Oh, 14 and 19?
Man,
Okay,
they've been
thank
around
you.
the block, you guys.
Yeah.
Incredible. We
And
need to all be so inspired of this women's field. It's veterans out
And
there.
still
It's so
showing
cool.
up to show off high-level results at highly competitive events. That's the thing I love. And, they're no strangers to Javelina. They're no strangers to Western States. These are women who have basically, been a part of the story of ultra running for over a decade at this point at the
2
highest
decades.
levels.
Yeah.
It's amazing. Yeah, in Devin's case, absolutely. Like, I mean,
And
I don't know if
Casey.
Casey's goes quite as far back, but yeah, the two of them, like, still, like, playing ball at this high of a level, absolutely awesome.
Yeah.
Well, I think we also have a couple, speaking of veterans, let's talk about some of the like newer up-and-comers in the sport. Anna Loudon. Haven't heard her name mentioned yet.
She wants it bad.
Yeah. She does.
She really
I feel like you
wants
guys
it.
have some inside information here.
I don't have any inside information. She's on my list. She's fast as crap. She got second here at the 100K, right?
She
a couple of years
won. No, she has the course record.
Oh, she does?
Yeah.
So Anna
Yeah, so, I
Loudon
mean-
has the course record for the 100K.
Yeah.
An 8:13. She
Yikes.
is very quick. I will say so she wants to get back to Western States. That is her number one goal. And her plan was actually to run Kodiak. And then she pivoted because after Western States this year, she's like, you know what? I need to get back to this race because she didn't have the race she's capable of last year. And so she ended up doing an altitude stint in Mammoth. She ran the Mammoth 50K, but really was just making that a training camp, which was really rad, in order to have a successful day here. She moved recently to Mill Valley. I think that she's just in a really positive place in her life and is really excited to toe this line. I know she's going to give it her all. I'm really excited.
Yeah, and I think especially if you're about to do something really hard, if your life as a general rule is going pretty well, that can do so much for your mental game during the race. So that would make her pretty formidable, I'd say.
Yep.
Addie Bracey is another athlete that I don't think we should count out here.
No, we should not.
One of the toughest athletes I absolutely know of out there. Just a gritty grinder. Has speed, obviously, but on top of that has a mental fortitude of being able to tackle this
She
kind
literally
of race.
wrote the book.
Quite literally wrote the book on
Quite literally wrote
Yeah.
the book, Ultra Running Mindset, I think it's called.
it. So exactly, and I think that like that is going to help her laps 3 and 4, like those. And as it gets hotter, it gets harder out there. I think she's got the mindset to be able to like nudge in front of her competition at that point.
Yeah, I can just say she just won a 50K in Colorado a month ago.
Well, didn't she do the 50-50?
And she ran the 50-50, and she beat a Courtney course record.
Yeah.
Which is
Was it
rad.
on the Westline Winder?
And- yes.
Okay, that's a much more runner focused.
So
Because
for-
the other one is much more like mountain, like high
Okay.
lonesome-y type thing. But I think the Westline Winder is trails that are pretty similar to like the ones that you might see out here.
I mean,
so I thought that
runner,
was really
she
interesting.
She came to trail because she was a road runner, and then she came to trail. She was, I think, our 50K road champion, and then went to trail and was like, this is really fun, and then hasn't looked back. But these are her roots, is she's a runner. So I'm really excited to see her she's put in massive weeks, like 120-mile weeks. Yeah. She's really committed to this
and lives at altitude.
Yeah.
So like, and I mean, she's tough as nails.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think that will do her a lot of favors.
Kind of been flying under the radar for the last year to 2 years, and I think this has kind of been her, like, she's just been at home, tilling the soil, planting the seeds, and just waiting to see what happens. So I'll be really excited to see her out here. I think she's capable of great things. And on that note, I think it is time to talk about Tara Dower. We talked about her a little bit. Is she gone? She's gone. Okay, we can talk about her now.
Relaxing somewhere, I hope.
No, I'm excited to see what she's able to do out here. I think she made the right call walking away from Mammoth 200. Her heart wasn't in it. She truly, truly, truly knew that her heart was here. And I remember speaking to her just slightly before Mammoth, and she's like, I just want to get back to Western. I'm like, what other courses do you want to do? And she's like, Western. I'm like, well, no, like, what other courses do you want to do? She's like, Western.
There is no other answer.
I'm like, okay, noted. This is what she wants to do. This is where she's at. Western States 100 is her sole focus. It's really all she wants to do at this point. So taking that energy, focusing it here at Javelina. She's proven she can run in the desert very quickly. As long as she can avoid the Choya out there, I think she's going to have a fantastic race.
I think that the Tara has proven that she can have success in the desert, and you can tell, like, she's totally cool with the temperatures and the conditions. I think that everything is definitely in her favor as far as, you know, the conditions and what she's done to get ready for this race. As long as she is entirely recovered, and like if dropping out of Mammoth was a future thinking move, then I have no questions about her whatsoever.
Yeah, I think we have to remember that she broke the course record at Black Canyon last year. Of course, Riley broke it a little more, but I mean, it was Riley and Tara had a race of their life. So if Tara can put together that kind of a day that she had at Black Canyon, and not last year, in 2025, last February, then, I mean, there's no doubt that she's going to absolutely destroy it out here. And I think the course record is under attack.
Yeah, and I mean, Tara is definitely no stranger, and actually I think, like, enjoys when things get really, really hard. And so even with her having the insane amount of volume this year that she's had, like, I don't know, she's always a hard one to bet against, just because, like, she's Tara Dower. Like, no one knows what she is capable of, probably including Tara.
I don't think she knows what she's capable
Yeah.
of yet. I think that she definitely is kind of figuring it out, and I think she's got the team around her to kind of really help bring out the best race in her. She's no longer just kind of like throwing it together and running super hard and getting to the finish line and seeing what happens. I think that she's attacking all facets of training. She definitely talked about how she was sleeping a lot more, eating really well. I think all of those are things that maybe just in the past, just she didn't have to focus on as much and still was performing, but now she's got a little more emphasis on it, a little bit more of a supportive team.
And Zach, I think that there may be something if we were to look, and I haven't done that deep dive into her numbers recently, but maybe the AT caused her to change her approach and become more methodical and scientific, rather than, like, she was always able to, like, you know, show up to Run Rabbit and win, and, you know, maybe kind of wing it and have that kind of, like, you know, she is definitely a carefree spirit still, but at the same time, like, maybe her approach has changed when she realized what it takes to succeed, you know, in something like the AT, where she became more methodical in her approach. And now we're going to see what it's going to look like, you know, when she puts it all together this weekend, possibly.
Yeah, and I definitely think when we're talking about, like, motivated athletes to get back to Western States, like, she's at the top of that list for me. I mean, like, what a heartbreaking experience to get your ticket, have that day. Like, I mean, like I said, she's the top of my motivated runners list for sure.
And that motivation can be just enough to get you to that finish line on that last lap when things are falling apart, or you've got second place in front of you and you got to push a little bit harder to make that pass in the final lap. I think that motivation is enough to kind of bury all the doubt, all the pain, all the suffering, like we know she knows how to do, and get to that finish line.
Who do you think is going to be leading the first lap on the women's side?
Devin Yanko.
Devin Yanko.
Same. Okay, so she just had the fastest 50 miler in
It was
in the
nuts.
U.S.
Yeah, that was
6
nuts.
hour 25.
If it
50
starts
miler.
with a 6, I'm just like bowing to you.
Let's go. Yeah. So she's super fit, and I think it's going to be really interesting to see who sticks on Devin and doesn't let her go. And somebody we didn't talk about is Carla. We need to talk about
Yes,
Carla
we
Molinaro.
do. She's so funny and
You
like
guys.
incredibly talented at running
This
really
women's
fast.
field is insane. I don't think we're giving them enough credit in the sense
Yeah.
of like the larger media landscape right now, because there's so many fun new up and coming runners, and then also these veterans, and then people coming from road. Like having Carla here is a huge, for me, just like a huge compliment to like trail. And I was listening, she wants to get a ticket. She's here for a ticket. She's the 50K world champion.
And Comrades winner.
Yeah, the comrades
yeah.
results are
Nuts.
definitely
Podium
something you
at
can't
Two
sleep on.
Oceans. Like she's incredible, and she's been here training for the last several weeks. She
Yeah.
wants this. I'm really excited, and I think Carla will go with Devin.
And I mean, sometimes, because I believe this is her 100-mile debut, correct?
That's
and
right.
so sometimes, like, that can work in your favor. If you don't know, like, how bad it can get, you're
Right.
just like,
beginner's luck.
right. And I feel like if somebody were to have, like, ridiculous amounts of beginner's luck just based off of vibes alone, it would be her.
And this is the place to get those vibes.
Yes, it is.
All
Go-
about the vibes.
Golden ticket races in Javelina and Black Canyon, all three of those things combined, they honestly they have a habit of having breakout races and creating names like Will, who we did not know about until Black Canyon last year, and everyone was like, wait, what? In fact, I have a hilarious story. My partner, Katie, her coworker was like, oh yeah, like you need to look for like my coworker's like husband, like I think he's running it. And then she texts Katie later, she's like, oh yeah, he's in second place. And Katie was like, maybe it's like tracking wrong. I don't know who she's talking
Second
about.
age group.
And it's this Will Murray guy. And she was like, who is this dude? He is crushing. And then you go look at his training, you're like, wow, this guy is set and prime. So I think those are the kind of breakout performances. Yes, we have our David Roches here. We have our established athletes, our Tara Dowers, but we always have that one wild card who's going to be up there. And I'll be really excited to see who it is this year.
Yeah, and I do, we've mentioned it a couple times, but like this year, I mean, Black Canyon does feel like it was 3 years ago.
Every
It's
time
been
it
a
comes up, I
heavy,
think that.
it's been a heavy year. Like a lot of people on both sides of like men and women have raced a lot this year. And I don't know. I just think that that's worth taking into account too. And I, to Carla's credit, like she's been really pretty focused, I think, on this. And so, I don't know. I know that this tends to be a veteran 100-mile victory race, but she would be one where, like, maybe she could potentially break that curse.
The naivety of running 100 miles for the first time and not knowing exactly how bad it's supposed to hurt, you just think this is what it's supposed
Right.
to be, can kind of get you through
Yeah.
sometimes.
Yeah, it did for my first one. So
I love it. Is it time to start making some guesses? Are we gonna put together our top 2 list each here? Who's taking home the ticket?
I'm not
I
guessing.
mean, I have my top 2 lists, on both sides.
Absolutely, we have to pick.
pick.
That's
We
part
talked
of the
about this
show.
beforehand.
I know
We
we
were going to
did.
put
You don't have,
you on
to
the
do the
spot.
100K. We'll leave you out
I'm
of
not
that.
doing the 100K.
we're gonna make our picks for who's taking home the golden ticket this year. As we wrap this up, but first we want to make a huge shout out to Hoka. Thank you guys so much for hosting us here in the Hoka Lounge. Thank you guys for letting us be a part of this and sponsoring not only the race but the live stream as well. So huge shout out to Hoka for that. Love my all white speed goats. Don't know how they've stayed white this long.
I know,
but-
I'm really
mine do not
impressed.
look like that.
yeah, these came from Western states
I
actually.
think mine are
so.
orange.
Wow.
So
Yeah, it proves I don't run enough. That's the problem. That's all it proves. Let's start down here on the very, very end. Mr. Chris Warden,
Yeah.
top 2. Let's start with the males, and we'll save the best for last.
So I've been pretty complimentary of this individual, and I do believe that Will Murray is going to come away with a golden ticket, but I don't have him winning because
Interesting.
after what I saw last year, I don't think anybody here can beat David Roche on this course, with the conditions especially. If David is healthy, and as far as I know, with everything that happened at Leadville, I think we're just going to see history repeat itself. Not only is David going to win this race, but I feel like he is going to lower that course record. I think it was 12:43 by John Ray. I could see it going down into the 12:30s, somewhere in that range.
I absolutely see it getting to the low 12:30s this year if that kind of history can repeat itself.
I know this
is so
dumb.
hard for you.
I didn't know
This
this was
is so
happening.
hard.
You're
is
not
way
going to
hard
hurt
for me.
anybody by not picking them.
No, I know. I'm just gonna. Well, somebody we
I'm
didn't
going to
talk
pick
about.
all my friends.
We didn't talk about Gavin Pryor, and I actually think he's going to be high up
Yeah.
on the list. He was 6th at Canyons this year in a crazy stacked field, 7th at Black Canyon, and 3rd at Tunnel Hill last year. I mean, he's really talented and really wants it and has been putting in incredible training. So I'm actually think that he's going to be really scratching for it, but I don't think he's going to get it. I think it's going to be David Roche. I think he's going to get it. I think he's going to get the course record. And I'm hoping for Rajpal Panu to actually be able to close it in. I really want to see him at Western States. I want to see what he can do. So I'm going to go them as my 1-2.
I love it.
Yeah, I think I'm probably going to pick the same too, but I do think that the race for second is going to be really fun. Like, I think there's going to be a lot of people in that mix for second place. Assuming that David has the day that, like, he has shown that he is capable of.
That's right.
Now, I think he had a pretty big year also, despite the fact that he didn't finish at States. Like, that takes a toll. And I mean, to be fair, he did the Leadville Javelina double last year also, and obviously crushed it. But I don't know. I think, you know, he's had a big year too. But if he can put together the day that he's capable of, he is hard to deny a number one spot too. But I'm with you. I would love to see Rajpal. He's such an incredibly gifted athlete. If he's healthy, then he's a hard one to say that he's not getting second, and he's not chasing David the whole time.
I mean, it's hard to vote against the fastest 100-miler in our country.
Yeah. Hard.
Yeah, and he's got the course record, the 100K course record here. So, I mean, dude's got speed, he's got wheels, he's proven he can do it here. My picks, I'm going to go against the grain.
Oh,
I do not have David Roche taking away the absolute win tomorrow. I think is going to be an incredible battle out there. I think a lot of things are going to happen. I think David is going to win on the most I love you, you're awesome per mile. Absolutely. We know that's a guaranteed. And I love to see it, but I've got Raj and Will Murray taking away the tickets.
Go.
And I got to give Raj a lot of love. The dude, him and I have shared some miles. And I know how well he puts together his races. I know last year wasn't his greatest day out there. He was really frustrated with the day, and he still walked away with a phenomenal time. So I think he's going to better that this year, and he would not toe the line unless he was ready, and that I'm going to put some trust in. So I've got Will Murray for a breakout race, and I got Raj taking away a golden ticket as well.
I think Raj's race last year, because I got to see it pretty up close and personal, I think that one of the things that I was surprised by, because I've seen him race at Jackpot, and I've seen him race actually here previously at the 100K, where he set that course record by an hour over Scott Traer. Raj ran really patient last year. Like, he was not insistent on, like, leading out. Like, he was, like, staying with that lead group of guys, but he never really seemed like he was pressed. Like, even coming through on loops 3 and 4, when I was out at Rattlesnake Ranch, there was never a point where I looked like he was trying to rush himself. So, that was a different side of Raj, versus what I had seen before. So I would not be surprised in the least to see him.
I think he's going to go out a little more aggressive this year.
Was this his first non-fixed time 100?
It might have been.
Because, I mean, that could just be, like, now he has the experience.
That's true, too, yeah.
I do believe you're correct. That would have been his first non-fixed time. So there we go.
So Raj.
Raj, now he's just bumped his stock up even higher. Let's talk about the ladies. Let's finish with a bang here, because we know this is going to be the most competitive side of the race. I think the men's race is going to be very competitive. The women's race, I am most excited to watch. We'll start back with you, Chris.
It is so... this is where I understand where you're coming from. Like, picking the women's race here is so painful, like, because there's so much talent on this course. Like, this women's race is one of the most competitive we've ever seen, and that takes all of the Western states, like in America, like Western States fields. Like, this is what it kind of feels like. It feels like it could have been a random Western States field. That being said, I believe that your golden tickets are going to be Tara Dower, but I think that Lauren Puretz wins this race and sets a course record.
Dang.
I think Lauren
Let's
goes
go.
sub 14.
Whoa.
Wow.
Lauren ran a 15 flat last year after running 16-13 the year before. I think that there's
Yeah, her
That
improvements
trajectory.
are nuts.
but like you also one of the things is like, well, there's got to be a point of diminishing returns, but I don't think we found it with her yet. I mean, I just saw her out here. I was like, oh my goodness, she looks even more fit than the last time I saw her. So I think Lauren Puretz runs sub 14 here this weekend.
Dude, what a
That's a
see
call.
that.
That's
what
a
a year
call.
ender that would be.
Let's go, Lauren. I hope she's listening. Okay, someone we haven't talked about yet was Beth McKenzie. Nobody's talking about Beth McKenzie. She trains out of Australia. She's a mom. She's awesome. I think she's 45. Actually, we should speak about that. I have a list, you guys, of the women. Carla Molinaro, 41. Devonyanko, 43. Beth McKenzie, 45. Lauren Puretz, 42. Addie Bracey and Casey Lichtide, both 39. Awesome.
Yeah.
There's a lot of experience towing the line. Okay, but back to Beth. I think she's our fastest marathoner out there. She's got a 2:37 marathon. She's very talented. She was right behind Ruth Croft and Caitlin Fielder at Tarawera last year. She can't accept a golden ticket because of a history
Previous
in triathlon,
sanction.
a previous sanction in triathlon years and years ago. So she can't accept a golden ticket. I just love that she's still here. She's still here for the competition to throw down. So I'm really excited to see what she does to the race and if she goes out really hot, because I think that she would actually go out hot with both Devin and Carla. And I'm
Nothing
curious.
to lose.
Nothing to lose.
Nothing to lose. And I'm curious what she will do to kind of have that upset or like change the pace dynamic. And if all the runners know that she can't accept the ticket, will that affect anything? And I don't know. I think it's just an interesting drama that nobody's been talking about. And I think Beth McKenzie's super, super talented and still throwing down at 45, like really fast.
She made a post about that like last night or this morning, basically
Okay.
saying that she understands that she is not eligible for the ticket, but she still wants to come out and see what she
love
does.
that.
I thought that was actually really cool.
You know what? So cool and super vulnerable. Probably like bringing up the stuff. No, she's like, I'm here. You know what? I want to throw down with the best, and I love that.
Yeah, I think it says something to like acknowledge your acceptance of the situation.
Yeah.
I think it's cool that she's here too.
And I think it's her first ultra in the States. So she races a lot in New Zealand, Australia. She just raced CCC, didn't have the day I know she's capable of. So she's another one coming off a big mountain effort. But anyway, so it'll be interesting to see her kind of debut trail event in the States. All right, but so I think it's going to be Devin and
All that
Carla
to say.
and Beth. And then I think the chase pack will be like a Tara and Anna Luden and Kareth and Lauren Puretz all chasing that lead pack down. And then it's just going to be about who can hang on and who can I want to see who can get into that lead pack. So we'll see. I think my picks are going to be Devin Yanko, Carla Molinaro, and I think that Devin's going to get a course record.
I shouldn't have sat on this
Wow.
side of you. 'Cause
Wow.
I'm actually agreeing. I think
Let's
that-
go.
Yeah, I think the experience of Devin Yanko. I mean, if she is having a day, she is the best to ever do it here. I mean, like she's insane. She's so fast. That freaking 50-mile in the sixes still just makes my brain explode. Like, and I mean, so she's obviously got the fitness.
Like now, she's got the fitness now.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and
that's
she's
not
had
an old
Right,
an
this
old
isn't a.
performance.
She won in 2022, but
Right.
and in 2015, but she's here now, fitter than she's ever been potentially.
Right.
So yeah, I'm really excited.
So,
to
and
see.
I know she's had, she's had some bad days because of health things. But if she is here and she shows up and has her day, she's kind of like the David Roche to me. Like impossible to deny the fact that she's gonna kill it out there. And then I think beginner's luck is gonna come on the side of Carla. I know that she's put a ton of dedication into training for this. Like she's been out here for weeks. Like getting used to the course, and I think her attitude is so positive and cheery, and like that does a lot for you. She's relatively fresh.
Well, and she knows how to problem solve. She's done a
That
bunch of
freaking
FKT.
UK thing?
Yeah,
Yeah, that was nuts.
Like a 12-hour effort, but like she knows the long distance. It's
Right.
not like she hasn't been able to problem solve.
So
for long.
I do think I really want her to be like that, I guess, a dark horse that just like shows up.
A world champion as your dark horse.
World champion dark horse. Whatever. But at the 100-mile distance, I mean, she is very new.
I think it's her first race.
Right.
At a
So I would love to see her do something here. I think that would be really awesome. I would cheer wildly.
Same.
Wow. How to follow that up. I originally came into this thinking that Kareth and Tara were the hands down, like they're going to go for it. And the more that I sat down and thought about it, and I went
Or
through.
we convinced you. Is that what you mean?
Yeah, I'm changing
is
it
this you
on the go
thinking
right
as we
now.
go?
No, the more that I thought about it, the more I realized, like, Devin Yanko is, in my opinion, she's the strongest athlete and the most probable to win this race. If you're taking all things into consideration, you take just like raw talent, speed, history, all of that. Devin Yanko's hard to deny the win here. She's got the history, she's got the experience, she's got the speed, she's got everything. Recent fast, like incredible 50-mile time. My only reservation with her is she's been hit or miss over the last little bit, but I know she really wants to come out and prove herself. She has changed her life in a way that I think is going to help her focus on this, and she's gotten she's gotten more away from the professional athlete vibe and more of the I'm doing this for me. And I think that's going to go a really long way. So the more I stewed on that, the more I sat on that, the more I was like, I cannot take that away from Devin. I'm going to have to give Devin the win here tomorrow. Course record is on watch. Absolutely. I think that Camille Herron record is probably going to go down tomorrow. And the other person I was thinking about, and the more I gave credit to, the more I was like, Lauren Puritz. I'm having a hard time walking away from Lauren Puritz and Devin Yanko because of what they've been able to do historically. And I just see their progression of getting better and better and better. And everybody else I thought of has like a little bit of a wild card to them where I'm like, oh, if I were putting my money on, if I were in Vegas and I were throwing money on this, I honestly, Lauren is the more meticulous, more well-prepared mentally, emotionally, and physically that I've seen. And it's all behind the scenes and you have to dig for it. It's not an apparent like big flashy name. It was her 8th place at UTMB really made me realize she is strong, she is fit, and that girl knows how to run in the desert. So those are going to be my top 2, Devin Yanko, and I'm going to go with Lauren Puritz as our ticket holders. Let's just have some fun with it.
Woo!
Yeah.
Let's go. I'm getting chills. I'm ready. I'm getting chills in the desert. I'm excited.
Absolutely.
And we have heat stroke, so.
On that note, anything else you guys want to add before we wrap up here?
Yeah, I want to shout out to a few of the people who keep coming out here every year, and there's 3 in particular that I want to recognize. I saw one of them just walk by a few moments ago. There's a few people that have run this race 10, 12, 13, 14, 15 times. And I know that 15-time finisher Susan Donnelly is going to be back here going for that 16th finish.
That's
here.
incredible.
I know that Karen Bonet, who just walked by, is going for her 15th finish here. And also Fred Roberts is going for his 14th finish as well. So, and I'm actually super excited about Fred because if we can find him, we might try and drag him for a quick interview because he and AJW were 2/3 of the podium in this race back in 2007. So that's one of the cool things talking about Javelina as something that people keep coming back to. You know, some of these runners are running this race for the 15th time, and they still keep coming back. And that's what, like, those people have become part of the thread of the history of this race. And a couple years ago, Susan couldn't make it because she had some injury issues. It felt different to not have somebody like that out here because, you know, like, I look forward to seeing her at the expo and getting my hug. And, like, those are, like, you know.
Like the reunion.
Yes, it is. It is kind of like, you know, it is a homecoming for those people who have been a part of this for so long. And, you know, you're talking about, speak of the devil right there. There's
hello.
a big
House,
goofball.
Mr. AJW.
But yeah, like the people who keep coming back. I mean, you know, he came back after a 15-year absence, 16-year absence. Like, and the fact that people keep coming back is what helped make this race so magical. So that's, I guess, I just wanted to shout out 3 people who have been a part of this story for a long, long time.
I want to shout out Pam Smith and Bob Hearn coming after the 24 Worlds, just like making that quick turnaround and being like, yep, we're doing Javelina. I think that's really cool. They've historically been pretty fun here. So I'm glad that they are back.
The last
Rachel
two
wants to
best
see
ass
ass.
winners.
I want to see butts. That's what I want to see. I thought the pirate's booty costume was like so clever.
There's no shortage of that here in the village. It's going to be fantastic.
Yeah, I guess my only thing is that we talk a lot about the 20, 30, 40 people that are going to be at the front of the pack, but how there's 800 people behind them, and that is, to your point, like really the soul of this race. And it is so much fun. There's so much festivities. There's so much life and joy. And I think that people need to come out here and experience it for themselves and really see the community aspect of Javelina. It's just such a good time. The Burning Man of running.
Yeah, the golden hour is going to be magical. I mean, last year we had a guy have to roll across the finish line with about a minute to go. Do you remember that? I mean,
Why did he roll? Because he
couldn't
couldn't walk? Wow.
He couldn't get helped. Yeah.
He couldn't walk. He couldn't get help. He got
So
to
just
like
barrel
literally to the
roll.
rail and barrel rolled across the finish line. And they handed him his buckle because it was and also his jacket because it was his 5th finish.
Wow. Okay, then. That's insane.
The history of Javelina is absolutely runs deep. We've talked a lot about so many of the incredible front runners. None of that would be possible for them if it wasn't for the volunteers here at Javelina. The race director, Jubilee, Jamil Khoury, for envisioning this incredible festivities that we have out here at Javelina every single year. Honestly, the amount of volunteers out here is incredible. So they get the biggest shout out of all. It's incredible to witness what happens out here in the desert. I was out here 3 days ago as we were setting this stuff up, and just to know what goes behind the scenes is absolutely insane to make this happen.
It's a city here. So if people don't get it, when I first came here, I had no idea. We need like big drone shots about how big this place is.
I mean, the Burning Man.
Yeah,
it is the
it's
Burning Man of
wild.
ultra running.
I didn't know because we didn't have a live stream before I came out here. I came out here 3 years ago for the first time to commentate, to field report for the live stream, and I've been back every year since because this is one of the most special races in the trail running circuit, really.
So it's a Kool-Aid race. You drink
It is a
Kool-Aid
Kool-Aid
and you're
race.
here all the time.
You
Drinking
come
the
out
Kool-Aid.
once and then
Yeah.
you show up with purple hair and an outfit, or your ass might be hanging out. Who knows? What happens in the desert stays in the desert unless it gets caught on the live stream, which tomorrow morning, 5:30 a.m., we're going to kick off the live stream. It's going to be fantastic. We are excited. The race starts at 6 a.m. Thank you guys so much for joining us. Thank you, Hoka, for hosting us. Thank you for giving us the opportunity to be out here. We'll see all of you at home at 5:30 tomorrow morning when the live stream kicks off. And until then, kick those feet up and get ready for a party here in the desert.